Hello everyone, welcome to Cukmekerb's coding class. So, you know how when you make a variable in JavaScript, you can make it a string by putting it in quotes, or it can be a number if you don't put it in quotes and you type a number? Well, today we're going to be going over every single data type that JavaScript has. Okay, let's do it. Alright. The simplest one is number, because it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a number, and you simply make one by typing the name of a variable, an equal sign, and then any number. Now the next one is sort of related to the number. It's called BigInt, and it's how JavaScript handles numbers that are very large. So usually in JavaScript, if you make a number and it ends up larger than 100 quintillion, it'll abbreviate that number. It'll make it like 1e plus 56. It's less precise, and the bigger the number gets, the less precise it gets. And so if you add 1 to it, it'll be exactly the same. If you subtract 1 from it, it'll be exactly the same, and JavaScript will see no difference between the number, because that's just how imprecise it is. And if you start to get to really high, there's a maximum limit, and if you add 1 to that, it's just infinity. Now, BigInt is the solution to this. It's an extra data type that's meant for handling extremely large numbers with precision. So if you add 1 to a BigInt type, it will not be considered equal to what it originally was, which would happen with really big number data types. And you make a BigInt by either typing the BigInt function with a number in it, or simply by typing all of the digits followed by an n. And you can add BigInts just like you add normal numbers. Up next we have strings. Strings are used to store text. You can make one by putting the value you want to store in quotes. You can add strings together using the plus sign just like you would add numbers, and there are also various functions used for modifying strings, such as replace. Up next, we have Booleans. Booleans are used to store a binary value, and they are represented in JavaScript by the words true or false. A lot of functions will return either true or false, and you can use them in if statements. They can also be represented by the numbers 1 or 0, but you should probably just stick to true or false, because you can end up messing things up by adding stuff to them and stuff. The next data type we have is null. Null just means that the value is unknown or that there is no value. You usually can use this to check if the value of a variable exists before trying to manipulate it. Next we have undefined, and you might think, isn't undefined basically just the same thing as null? Yes, it is kind of the same thing, but they're separate data types. I don't really get it, because if a variable is undefined, it also is null. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't get it either. Next we have objects. Objects are usually either an array, which is just a bunch of values in order. You make them by putting the values inside square brackets separated by commas, and a dictionary. I don't think JavaScript actually calls them dictionaries, but I don't know what else to call them, and basically every other language calls them that, which is where you use the curly brackets, and you can have, it's like having a variable with little variables inside it, and then those little variables can have their own little variables inside them, and they all have names. It's great for people who like to be super organized. You can do a lot with them. They're very useful. You can find the data type of any variable by simply running the typeOf function on it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, buy my merch, and remember to make sure that the floor underneath you is really as solid as you think it is.